So let's say it like this. You have to attend with the camera on at least 20 meetings. If you don't want to turn the camera, if you're driving and you're traveling and you're not really 100%, but you want to listen, you can do that too. But to get your points for asistencia, you have to attend 20 meetings, okay? Each meeting, I'm going to assign one person to be translator and one person to be time stamper. Translator is clear what that is, right? You're going to translate when I need a translator. And the second, the time stamper is somebody who's going to record the time when I make important either examples or important points, because I'm going to timestamp the videos when I put them in YouTube. Okay, so you're just going to record like meetings, like minutos. You're just going to record the time that I said, and what the thing is like, okay, I'm just talking about asistencia now. So you're going to just put the time, 9:05. Well, I said it like at 9:05, 9:04. So 9:04, or sorry, 10:04. And then you're going to say, you must attend 20 classes with camera on. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Everyone's going to have a chance to be the record keeper or the time stamper, and everyone's going to take the chance to be a translator for me. All right. All right, so that's how we're going to work it. So if you just came, if you heard what I was saying, 20 meetings at least you must attend with the video on. And I'm going to record your participation. Also, participation includes going on Moodle. If you're not going on Moodle, I can see that. You need to go into Moodle. You need to look like you're reading things or doing something in there, at least the syllabus. That's showing your activity offline. Okay, so I need to see that. Um, all right, so now I want you to tell me about the syllabus. Let me post the syllabus and any comments you have about the syllabus. Oh, let me open it first. Hold on. Any comment
Professor, I have a question
about,
about the assignment, the time, because it's assigned at 11:59 of this morning.
oh, is it?
Is that correct?
No, it
Yeah.
should be 50, PM. I got to change it to 50 to PM, right? It says AM, Francis?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
due in 2 hours.
Oh, no, no. Well, some people really worked hard then. Okay. No, it's supposed to be PM. Okay, hold on. I have to do something here. I'll change it right now. You see, I need your help with some of this stuff because it's going to go fast. All right. So I put it here on Moodle. I put the syllabus here and the, wait. All right. Okay, so first of all, who's going to be my translator today? Who was last time? Okay, today it's Merali, can you be my translator? And then Francis, you're going to be my record keeper, my time stamper. When I say important things, make a note. You can do it like, because you're going to send me an email after, right? So put it in somewhere, type it, the time and anything important. So one important thing that I said, that's going to be in the record. Like, you don't have to say that I'm going to change the date or the time for the assignment. That's not necessary. But just about the assistencia thing at 9 o'clock that I said about assistencia 20, you have to attend at least 20 classes synchronically, like with the camera on, to get your assistencia points. Okay. So just put a point there. And that's just going to help me to put up the timestamps with the video, make it fast so people can quickly go through the videos if they don't want to watch the whole thing if they're reviewing it. Okay, so okay, first of all, let me change this deadline. Um, Let me change the deadline here. Yeah, if you ever see a incongruence, just let me know. I can, yeah, it has to be 23:59. Just text me or email me. There you go. So some people thought it was due at 11:59 and they probably worked really hard, and that's a good thing. But I didn't intend that. That was a mistake. All right, so any other comments about what's here so far in the assignments? I'm going to explain all that I require, but just about the dates. Anything about the dates? Okay, so let's look at the syllabus. Any questions about the syllabus and what I put here? If you read it, if you didn't read it, you can ask me later. I need to make sure I did not put a schedule precisely because I haven't taught this class in years and I want to be flexible. I don't want to force things. I want to do the things that we need to do. So I didn't put dates on everything. In the future, I will, but not for you guys. All right. Some people asked me about the words. Merali, you asked me, did you try to create an account?
I did.
And
It
was
was easy.
okay, good. Good news.
But you have to search for the university specific. So when they ask, there's a bunch of options. And then it asks if you're like a student or an undergrad and if you have a code. I put that I didn't have a code and it let me create the account.
Oh, great. Awesome. Yeah, these services have really nice, they have much more user-friendly tools now, which is really great. So they're going to also have videos, instructions, and anyway, they're better now than they were 10 years ago. Francis, are you writing that down? Bloomberg, no, sorry, Words accounts. Just put at 9:10 Words account. Or 10:10. Sorry, I have my time delayed. Okay, so okay, let's see what else. So I put some bibliography here, textbooks, reference materials. Um, I won't necessarily reference these, but these are good to have as textbooks if you want a textbook source. And then I have all these websites where you can find data that might or might not be useful for you, but anyway, it's a good set of resources. And then a mention of our databases in Puerto Rico. All right. All right, then I put some regression tools. Okay, so I don't want you going there into the regression tools um, until after I show you what I'm expecting from you with regression. So those are just also resources. And then I made some comments here about policies. So I said classroom attendance and participation are mandatory. And I'm going to add about the 20 classes. So you should, in the mandatory sense, watch all the videos posted, but I'm going to try and make it more efficient with the timestamps. Okay, so during the class, you need to pay attention. If you're trying to do something else, try to refrain from that, okay? If you really can't control yourself, do everything to control yourself because we're only 1 hour and 20 minutes together. So it's a short enough time I should have your attention and avoid having to watch the videos again. Um, okay, if you miss class and you have 10% of it is going to be for your participation. Did I write 10%? Let me just verify that I put it participation. They do add to 100 now. Right, so I made it 10% for attendance, enthusiasm, participation, and your oral exam also at 15% will be, you have to be there, so that's, you have to be there for that. It's in person, and we'll talk more about that structure later. because there are a lot of students. I need to be able to fit it in. So I'm really stressing the right now what is expected of you, so you make sure you can comply. And if you can't, I think you still have chance to drop the course without a penalty. I'm not sure actually. I need to put up, I'm gonna post the calendario for the semester. I was gonna do it before class, but I forgot. Okay, and then just some other things here. Yeah, you can't miss anything. There's no extensions. It's a grade of 0, as there's no time to make extensions or anything. Okay. Okay, and then I just have the all the information about reglamentos there. All right, so any questions about the syllabus? The timeline. All right, so now let's talk about the assignment. All right, so tell me, cuéntame, how did it go? Some of you didn't start yet. It's okay, you still have time. This assignment is 5% of your final grade. It's not that important, but it's important so that you can engage in the conversation we're going to have today. So tell me about the assignment. So what you have to do is download this. You can do this in Word or Excel. If I do it in Excel, oh, sorry, or Word, they both go to a saved place. And then I can open them. Oops. And I mentioned some, I want you to fill this in, the citation. Do you know how to get the paper citation? Well, I gave it to you, right? So you can copy the one there. And citations should be in APA format, if you know what that is. Everybody knows what APA is? And you're going to upload your assignment to that link. There should be an upload link for you. So here is the citation for you. So this was Jared's paper, and you can copy that citation. The other way to get citations very easily is in Google Scholar. So did you know that? So in Google Scholar, you see where it says, let me make it bigger if some of you are watching on your phone. So where it says cited by, we talked about that last class. Those are all of the papers or reports that cited this paper, capital without borders. But if you press this, that gives you the citation. So this is a book, and here's the APA citation. So you can just copy and paste it. You should verify it because it's not always perfect. And the way you can verify citations is with, well, there's a website called Citation Machine. I think you can also check in an AI, if you guys use ChatGPT or Perplexity or wherever, you can check there about the citation. But before that, we used to use Citation Machine. I don't know, it looks a little bit different now. It's like changed. Cite your sources, create citations. So you can cite a website, a book, or journal. So it helps you make a citation. Did any of you know about that before? Put it in the chat. Can you guys make a record? Put it in the chat. Have you heard of Citation Machine before? So this will help you. The other source that I use for citations is Purdue OWL. They probably change how they do things. But probably AI will show you even better. So those are three ways to get citations. Purdue Owl is just like it gives you the APA guide, and it gives it in a way like it gives you some explanations here if you want to have in-text citations. So this is how you would write citations in your um if you're making a citation to an author in your paper, that teaches you how to do it, okay? And then if you want to create footnotes and endnotes, so anyway, it teaches you how to do APA style citations. So that's a source. Citation machine, and then Google Scholar. Honestly, I just use Google Scholar, and if it looks weird, I put it into the citation machine. Um, let's get an article. So let's do this one. So this will show you citation for apostyle. So there's different styles. MLA is used, um, I believe so. APA is more for social sciences and business, and MLA is for medical, usually, or bio, like natural sciences. I don't know if that's consistently true, but I think that's how it works. But we use APA, social sciences. Um, let me see if I can do this in chat. Can you guys put in the text, sorry, in the chat, what's why is it giving me that? Chat. Can you put in the chat which AI manager you use primarily? EIA tool? Oh, why is it making me log in? You guys participating in the chat is your participation, so make sure you write something. Um, so let's see. Is this citation in APA correct? So you can ask it, you're very close. So how did it change it? Evaluating business reforms, online banks, European Journal of Operations. Okay, so it capitalized the names of the words in the journal. It used italics. So it did some, and then it put the DOI. So DOI, this is more recent. Well, I mean, I have 25 years. So when I say recent, um, maybe in the last 5 to 10 years, they started doing this. This will bring you to the article, and that goes in the citation. And here it has the adjustments. Okay. So APA, the seventh edition refinements, you can verify and get it out of a chat, sorry, a chatbot or a, let's see, what you guys tell me, ChatGPT, Grammarly. Okay, yeah, because it's free, right? Good. Perplexity, Gemini. I saw an image, I saw a meme that showed that, like the evolution of AI tools, and the newest one is called, what is it that I found? Hold on. AI model evolution. Genora AI is the newest one. So it went from ChatGPT to Gemini to DeepSeek to Genora AI. Any of them is better than what we had 2 years ago. So I'm happy, you guys. You guys, we're gonna do an amazing job if by being efficient with your work. Okay, easier for me to grade, more enjoyable experience. All right, so let's see. Um, all right, so all I was talking about was the citation. I got off on a tangent there. Um, let me share. the website again. Okay, so that's the citation. Use to refine the citation, just use your AI tool. APA 7th edition is the most recent. Okay, let's look at this a little bit closely. Okay, so I want you to put the paper citation on this line here. Oh, sorry. I have to share it. Okay, so you're going to do your AI verification to get the proper citation. You're going to either type your comments in here and to go to the next line, if you are an app, iOS, or if you're an Apple user, it's going to be Shift Command and Enter. So then you can get to the next line. You see? If you are a other user, you can use Alt Enter and you can get to the next line. Everyone got that? So you can, and if you're not using this at all, and instead you're using the Word document, that's fine. So what I want you guys to tell me, what was the most efficient way you have to answer these questions? Be honest. You can put it in the chat. Okay. Are you using the Excel or the Word document? And what did you do to answer these questions? So you're going to put the JQL. So you're going to get the field of research classification, and then you're going to get the rank of the journal from ABDC. So we learned how to do that last class, remember? You got to go to the ABDC page and do the search bar, put the journal's name in there, and it'll give you the field of research. And it'll give you the rank, A star to C. This is for, okay, so right now you're acting as the presenter. This is for when we do the critique. So I'm using, right now, I'm using this document that you are the presenter. Well, let's see, wait. No, you are the discussant. So you are evaluating the paper. So you put your name here and you put your total score here. But this document is also going to be used when you make your proposal for your research presentation, where you are the presenter, you put it here. When you are the critique, when you're giving the critique, you put your name here and you make a critique of the person's paper. Anyway, I'll explain that more later if that's confusing. So these are how you're going to score the paper on each of these points. And also, you should include not appropriate or not available if it's not a relevant question. All right, so did you guys write something in the chat for me? So I want you to write in the chat, what is your most efficient way of answering these questions? So you guys are just reading the paper and going one by one? Can't you just can't you just upload the paper to AI and then put these questions and say answer these questions? It's not that easy. Okay, you want to understand the questions. I'm using Excel. I ran down, then I use AI to search for the information in the paper one by one. I wonder if you could just put it all at once. Put the paper and say use the PDF or answer the following questions or review the PDF to answer the questions and then just cut and paste the questions. Now that's not going to be perfect. I don't think it's going to be able to do everything. But it might waste your time, but you guys can try that to start to get you going, okay? It might waste your time. You might still have to go one by one. And anyway, you got to go one by one to do it right. You should read the paper. You're going to have trouble understanding. Some papers are harder than others, but don't let that defeat you. Just do the best you can do, okay? Do the best you can do at answering the questions. The important thing is that you try to answer all of them and familiarize yourself with the kinds of questions you're going to have to answer in your paper. That's the idea here. It's not worth too much because I'm not giving you a lot of time. I just want to get it done, that you guys read a journal article. Is this the first journal article you ever read? Is this the first academic article you've ever read? Right, Valeria. Use the AI to help if you do not understand the questions I'm asking, right? Yeah, so there's some here I don't expect you to know they even mean. Okay. So that's fine. Go deeper and find out what they mean. All of the papers were seminal papers. All of the papers use regression analysis. Okay, that's where you're headed. Did anybody particularly like their paper? Yeah? Did I manage to find papers that were interesting? If you hated your paper, you have to let me know. Um, and I need a better idea of getting better papers, but you're gonna use the one I gave you, punto, because we need to finish this. Okay, let's see which questions you still don't understand. So let's go through here and I will highlight the ones you don't understand and I'll explain them a little. So let's go in order. Any of these questions you didn't understand? Did some of the papers not have a literature review? It might not say literature review at the top, but they have a section where they review the literature, either in the introduction or background. They have a section that they. Yeah, it's going to be complicated, you guys. These are all seminal papers. They're not impossible. And because of being in the fourth or the fifth year of your program, you have some insight to what they're talking about. But yeah, I don't expect you to be an expert at all, especially with the analysis. And there's some that have pages and pages of formulas, and don't be intimidated. Just read for what you understand. Look for what you understand and what you can answer. Yeah. Okay. So no questions about step 1 and 2 so far.
I
Somebody
have
asked
a
me,
question.
uh-huh.
Mine says only like data review. It doesn't say literature review.
But at the
Do
beginning,
I?
doesn't it have a bunch of stuff like it's like, oh, Dorman and King wrote this in
Yeah. So I
1975. That's your
just
literature review.
okay.
They didn't put a title, but that's the literature review. Some
Professor, I have a question.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, on step 2.
yeah.
The letter E, the keyword search produce a throughout search. What does that mean?
Okay, so in your presentations, you guys are going to show me your keyword search or search strategy. Keyword search is where you just put keywords in Google Scholar and get some results, right? Search strategy is more detailed. A search strategy will be a systematic way of pulling papers. It's not like you just go in and then you say, I want information, I want a paper on wealth management. You just type wealth management. But it's more thorough. Like you want to do um, wealth management and options. You want to just talk about options only. Okay, so you got to write it in a special way just to get options articles. All right, so derivatives, or you want to use different kinds of securities. So keywords are just like words that you throw away, and search strategy is a strategy that we're going to talk about that today, about search strategies. Okay, so on your papers that you read, I don't think any of you had a paper where it told you what keywords it used to get the literature for the literature review. Okay, but you're going to have to do that in your paper. So I really think these are probably going to be NAs, like not applicable. It's not going to show up, but I expect you guys to put that in your proposals. Okay, I expect that to be in your papers and your proposals, because that's what we're trying to do here, is to be thorough. So does that answer your question, Francis? It's probably not there. You won't be able to judge because they didn't tell you what their keywords were. Okay, so that's going to be
Thank you.
NA. It's important that you tell me NA so then I can reduce the total points of your scoring here. Okay, so I don't know how you're going to judge F. Important relevant references are included. Um, you're going to have difficulty judging that one because these are older papers and the references are also going to be older papers, and you probably didn't read any of them, so you're not going to be able to judge. So, but you can use AI to try and get an answer. If you're throwing the article into AI, you can try and get an answer for that. So, okay, patterns in the literature review. Do they say that the literature review or previous researchers thought this, but more recently we think that, so they kind of group all the past articles or research together and talk about patterns. If they don't talk about patterns, you say, no, they didn't talk about patterns. Okay. I expect you to talk about patterns. So I expect you to answer all of these. So the idea of this assignment is that you familiarize yourself with the expectations I have of your research. Okay, let's look at these questions. Any questions here? So there's some distinguishing between theoretical and conceptual frameworks. Did you look those words up? You probably looked looked up those words because you don't know what they mean. Just a second, I gotta go blow my nose. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And my question was, did you find out what theoretical framework means and conceptual framework? Are you there yet? Maybe you're not there yet. Did you look that up? All right. You guys aren't telling me. So as I mentioned last class, when you conduct academic research and you pursue empirical validation, you need theory that you're going to test, right? So you need some previously developed theories that have some support with evidence, and that's what empirical means, right? So they got some data and they tested the theory. And what happens to create something new, because let's say someone already did the research. Now, and I'll show you some examples. To be new, a way to produce something new or unique is to take a few theories and put them together. Okay, so combining theories can create a new idea or a new theory or new sets of relationships from those theories. Okay, so that's the idea that's the theoretical framework. So you're taking theories and you're imagining them how they interact, and then what you do with your context or your interest. So I don't know, I guess I got to be more specific, but in exactly what you want to research, you're going to start looking at the data sets that you're interested in and create a conceptual framework. So you're going to be able to test that new theory that you're trying to develop, and you're conceptualizing, and you're thinking about it in terms of, so you read old papers, okay? There are old papers, not necessarily old ideas because we lean on those ideas, but maybe the current world we live in has shown different things and you want to test those. And so we're in a different, in different context. And so you say, okay, so this is what they found out, let's say, about stocks and bonds. How does that apply when there's cryptocurrency? And so then you want to try and bring that into things. And so you would develop a conceptual framework to develop to test the theory. Okay, that's that idea. Or anyway, that's some way to think about it. Okay, research variables. So do you know the difference between independent and dependent? This is the most important part for you guys. Do you know the difference between independent and dependent variables? Put in the chat. Put in the chat what's an independent variable, what's a dependent variable. Jared, I don't see you moving. What? Where's your keyboard? Put it in the chat. Well, I can't see everybody at once. I want to see everybody. If I can press I see Noelia. That's not exactly it, Robert, but kind of. What's the difference between independent and dependent? I know what you're saying, but it's a relationship, right? What is the difference between independent and dependent? There you go. So you're connecting them. Very good, ladies. So it's and Robert was onto it, but he wasn't making the connection clear, but I think he was on the right track. So so thinking about that, so the dependent variable depends on the independent one. And how can we possibly say there's a dependence when we learn about correlation? When we study correlation, we learn that just because two variables are correlated doesn't mean that one causes the other one to change. How do we reconcile the fact that correlation does not mean causation with what I'm saying now? Well, theory helps us do that. Okay, we depend on the theory to be able to say, no, it's not just correlation. We have done many studies over time and empirically tested the theory that makes sense to us, and we've seen this pattern and we've tested it, and yes, that independent variable does move the dependent one. There is an explanation for that. Okay, so one example would be when we talk about the beta that we measure, right? The beta that we measure is looking at the S&P 500, and the changes in the S&P 500 do affect, they are correlated with movements or changes in returns to a company's stock. And we measure that relationship with the beta, right? That slope relationship with the beta. And how good that beta is at predicting that relationship depends on the R, right? How good it fits on that line. But somebody else who doesn't know anything about finance would just say, "Oh, that's just a correlation. That doesn't imply that they're related like that." But you say, no, 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 no. There's lots of research, and there's a theory that we have that explains that relationship. Okay, there's a theory, and the main one, we use the capital asset pricing model. That's a theory about the relationship. Okay. So that's how we can say that they are related. And this identifying how we're going to explore those relationships to validate theory or to test theory. We're going to identify dependent variables and independent variables and operationalize them. What does this word mean? Operationally defined. It means that, remember, we use the S&P 500 to represent the market or the economy. But is that accurate? Is that a really good measure of the economy? Well, it's a measure of risky assets, the return to risky asset portfolio of risky assets. Sometimes that's a good estimate of the economy, sometimes it's not, but we use it as a proxy. We call it a proxy. Okay, so that's operationalizing. So I believe that the performance of a stock is dependent on the market, or which is represented by the economy, and I'm going to operationalize that. I'm going to represent the market by the S&P 500. That is called operationalizing. That's an example. Okay, and a measure of the performance of a firm, we're going to use as a proxy the returns over, we could say, think about it. We have to pick a number. We can do it over the day returns, the month returns, the year returns. Okay, so whatever we decide to use as the return, whatever time period, we're operationalizing the performance of the firm. Okay, or the performance of the stock. That's operationalizing. Okay, confounding variables. What are confounding variables? So confounding variables are variables that may interfere, and actually it no, let's say it you might think there's a relationship between two variables, and I'm just saying two, but we're going to talk about multiple regressions, so, or multivariate relationships. But let's just talk about two. It's good enough, right, to make the example. So you might believe there's a relationship between two variables, but really there's something else that is creating the relationship, or influencing the relationship. So what you want to do with confounding variable, well, first of all, do you understand what I'm talking about? So an example. An example, I just um, outside of finance, I guess I should give you a finance example, but outside of finance, let's say, um, this is always the common one that comes to my mind is on the beach. On the beach, at the same time we measure over a week the number of people who have, drowned in the water. If we keep a record of the number of people who drown in the water over a week, and we try and predict the number of people who will drown, what are some of the variables you think would influence or be associated with drowning? Which is like, people drowning on the beach could do with it has to do with the climate, right? It has to do with the climate. It has to do with holidays. There's more people on the beach. So basically, more population on the beach. There's going to be more drownings on the beach. It's going to be in the holidays. So these are probably the drivers of people drowning on the beach, right? More like the holiday period, the temperature on the beach, or the climate that creates tides or rip tides or, current on the beach. So those are probably the reasons and factors that have people drown on the beach. But another variable that would be correlated but doesn't cause people to drown on the beach could be ice cream sales on the beach. The guy who goes around with the cart and he's selling the parcha and the whatever ice cream, fresh drinks, fresh desserts. I don't know how fresh they are, just sugar, but anyway, like cool refreshments. So those ice cream sales will be high. At the same time, the drownings will be high, but not because the ice cream sales caused the drownings. Um, just because it is that it's also another variable that's associated with a high population. There's going to be more sales. It's a holiday, there's more sales. Okay, so those are two kinds of variables. The drownings and the ice cream sales are being moved by those other variables around them. So you want to be able to make sure you're using those driving variables and those proxies of those drivers in your analysis. And if you're trying to describe that relationship, dependent and independent, you want to make sure that you're using, that there's a theory behind, there's an explanation behind it. That variable, it's the drivers that you're interested in, okay? The ones that are really behind. If you were studying ice cream sales and drownings as the dependent and ice cream sales as the independent, that wouldn't be appropriate. You really want to put into there the real effects. If you wanted to, let's say you wanted to study the effects of the climate on drowning, you should check that during the holidays and not during the holidays. Why would I say that? Put it in the chat. So if I want to study the relationship between the climate that creates tides, so I'm going to do a current, some measure of current. I'm sorry, I don't know oceanography, but something about the current, or I want to put in like temperature, so some variables like that. But I know that there's going to be more people on the beach, and that will affect more drownings during the holidays. So I have to be careful that holidays might be a confounding variable to estimating the relationship between climate and drownings. Okay, so that's the idea of a confounding variable. So confounding variable is another variable that might influence things, but you want to control against that to look at to describe the other relationship. So to really attribute the effect to your independent variable to the dependent variable, you have to control against confounding variable. And the way that we do that in regression analysis with multiple variables is we also include it in regression as a control. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. Do you guys ever learn this before? Kind of on a scale of 1 to 10, whatever I just talked about, did you learn this before? About confounding variables, independent variables, and confounding variables? Controlling. Yeah, put in from a scale of 1 to 10 if you learned this before. Kind of. So Francis said kind of. Kind of. Okay. In biology, good. So he can lean on biology. That's good. 5.1. All right. Do you understand what I'm saying though, right? So if you want to describe or identify a relationship, you have to identify all possible effects and include them or control against them by including them in your analysis. All right. Hypotheses. Hypotheses are, so you guys are making notes. This is going to be a video. Francis can write down hypotheses at 10:57. I'm talking about hypotheses. Hypotheses. What did you guys learn about hypotheses? Because you guys learned about hypothesis testing, right? You learned about inference and hypothesis testing. What is a hypothesis? What is a hypothesis? What hypotheses do you know about? It says hypotheses. It means there's two. What are the two hypotheses that we usually make when we conduct an inference? I mean, you can make many hypotheses, but when we do inference, we talk about two hypotheses. One is the null hypothesis, and the other one is the alternative hypothesis. Does that sound familiar? It would be the null hypothesis and the alterna. So this is the crux of it. This is why hypotheses are why, well, you need hypotheses to pursue analysis or testing and scientific pursuit of knowledge. You look at all the literature, all previous studies that have been published in high quality journals that signals to you this is important research. And what you're going to do from that is state a hypothesis about the scenario you're looking at. So, can any of you guys, did any of you get here? Does anybody there have a hypothesis written down from their research that they read? It should either say they want to test a certain hypothesis. It should be kind of spelled out. Maybe it doesn't say hypothesis on it, but did anybody get that far? Nope, is your answer? Let me see. Nobody? You guys can tell me no. I'm waiting here. No. All right, so you guys go to identify the hypothesis of the paper. All of your papers conduct a regression analysis, so they should have hypotheses. They should have a hypothesis, at least one. They might have 10. So you're going to look for that. and you're going to put it in your assignment. I'm going to go here. Let's see if I can look at somebody's paper and show you hypothesis. Let's see. I got to go back to Jared's. So, search for the word hypothesis. Okay, we would welcome the opportunity to test this hypothesis. Okay, so here. So search in your article for the word hypothesis. Hypothesis or hypotheses. Did you find it? Ah, here. Okay, Francis got one. Okay, here you go. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to look at Francis right now. So lag equity return rate returns can predict contemporaneous returns on the Russell Property Index. Okay. Okay, so there's his hypothesis. The way that you state the hypothesis in the null,
Professor, excuse me. We're not
yeah,
seeing the screen.
which screen? Oh, you want to
The
see
one
Francis? It's in the chat. Go to the chat.
uh
Yeah, he wrote it in the chat. So Francis wrote in the chat, lagged equity return can predict contemporaneous returns on the Russell Property Index. Okay, so there's the two variables. Which one is the independent one, everybody? The lagged equity rate can predict, it's going to affect or move the contemporaneous returns on the Russell Property Index. So that's the dependent. Okay. So that's the idea. You guys are going to try and find the hypothesis. And the way that you state the null hypothesis is always in the status quo. It means today the state of research tells me it should be like this, and then you're going to look to see if it's different. That's going to be the scientific approach. So you guys are writing notes now and scrambling, to figure all this out. I'm going to put these all in a set of summary notes, but don't wait for me. Get your notes ready as you're going. All right, so let's go back to my thing. All right, so that's hypothesis sampling. So what I really need here is the data. Where did they get it from? I want you guys to tell me where they got it from. What was the sample size? Again, you guys can use AI to do all of this. It's fine with me. I really want you to, the big part is that you know all these components of research and you know what they mean. That's what I want. The research design, what is the methodology that they used? Did they do a log regression? Did they do a multinomial? Is that what it's called? Regression? What kind of regression did they use a panel study? Did they do cross-section analysis? You might not know what any of that means, but put it down for now and we'll talk about it. Okay. We're going to talk about stuff like that. All right, this word, generalizations. You guys know what that means? Generalizations. There's another one here. So to publish research, you have to have an audience. Some journals will reject articles because they are not appropriate for the journal and the journal audience. The more generalizable your article is or your research is, that it's relevant to many audiences, the more likely you will publish it. Okay, so you want it answers the so what. You have to make people have to care about your research. So You want it to be generalizable. Generalizations, so that's why we have F. Generalizations will be possible as an outcome of the research. It's going to be relevant to many people, and you'll have many or greater audiences to appeal to and more likely to publish. Okay, I'm kind of skipping through this because I want to talk about other stuff. Okay, in finance research, you guys don't have to do primary data collection. You're going to get it off of a website, which tackles a huge hurdle. Like it just, you avoid a lot, you save a lot of time. And in fact, because you're collecting data that's already been cleaned and cleared, you don't have to do so much data, well, it depends, but you don't have to do data management. You don't have to get permission. And that all of that takes time and money. Okay, so you're just going to use data that's already produced or given to you. Well, somebody paid for our subscriptions to Words, or we paid for subscriptions to Words and to Bloomberg to get that data. But even if you go to Yahoo Finance and other websites, you can get that data at no cost to you. So this stuff, you're just going to say data collection methods. There might have been data collection. There might have been. You have to mention it. Valid and reliable. What does that refer to? Does anybody know? Anybody know about what valid? Sorry, Robert, you wrote your hypothesis. Good. Okay, so I'm going to show you in pictures, because we're so good with memes these days, what valid and reliable refer to. I gotta close some things here. I wanted to do search strategy today, so I'm gonna have to stop talking soon. But I want to show you this first. There it is. I'm going to make this visible so you can see it on the site. I have a lot of stuff on the site, but I haven't made it visible. Okay. All right, so go look at the Moodle page. Well, I'll show you too. I'll show you what I did. There we go. All right, valid and reliable. Stare at that meme. I don't know, it's a meme. It's just an image that's very useful. Now, do you know what valid and reliable refer to when you're trying to make estimates? When you're trying to estimate the effect of a independent variable on a dependent variable, we want to be both valid and reliable. You want to be like here. You want to hit the target. You want to get the right number most of the time. Okay, that's the idea. So that is, in other words, in statistics terms, that's that you want to be unbiased and you want to have a small standard deviation. You don't want to have it all over the place. You want it to be, precise. So that's reliable and valid, unbiased and small standard deviation. You don't want this because this is, yes, it's all tight, but it's in the wrong place. It's not the right answer. Okay? It's not giving you the right answer, but it's reliably not giving you the right answer. That's not what you want. You don't want this either. This is just a mess. It's not unreliably giving you a bunch of answers, so that's not good. So in this one here, reliable, not valid. So it's bias. It's off the target. It's bias all of the time. That's exactly what you don't want. Here, it's not hitting the target. It's away and it's all over the place. So it's hard to even, throw out the possibility because it's kind of scattered around. And then here they're just all over the place. It's off the mark, so it's not valid, it's biased, and it's not reliable at all. So validity deals with bias, and reliability is about the variance or the standard deviation that you want it to be small. You want the estimate to be tight, okay, not all over the place. So that's in images. So when you're thinking about or you're reading your paper, check what did they do to ensure, and did they do anything there to ensure validity and reliability? If you don't know, you just say, I don't know. Or if it's not there, if it's not clear. You guys should be clear in your papers, okay? How you manage validity and reliability. And you're going to be able to do that because the regressions that you do will be able to, you'll be able to refer to whether they're reliable estimates that you're getting from your regression. Okay, data analysis. Any questions here? Maybe you didn't get this far. Okay, so up till 10, I expect you guys to do that. This might be hard for you, but work on it. Let me know if you have any questions. For steps 11 and 12, I expect you guys to do this on your paper. You don't have to do it for the one you're doing right now. You just have to go up to step 10, okay, for your analysis of the paper you're reading. These are just things that we're going to talk about journals and publication and finding conferences because it's not just about publishing a paper. You want to put it, you want your research, your new knowledge to disseminate to other people. And it's not just going to be about writing a paper and putting it there. You want to pitch it. You want to bring it to conferences. You want to discuss it with people, other experts, right? So you go to conferences to do that. So I wanted to talk about conferences with you. And this is just kind of for fun. This shouldn't take up a lot of time to help you understand how to disseminate your research in an academic way. So don't worry about 11 and 12 for this assignment. Just go up to 10 the best you can. And you're going to mention if you agree or disagree and then make your total score. And also anything that you think was not applicable, use NA. So then I discount that from the total. All right, so that's that assignment. So you guys can use AI, as I said. You can just dump it in and see what it gets you. And answer those questions for me. All right, so what I wanted to say before you left, from the paper that you read, I know you guys are stressed to get the assignment done, but you must have had some sort of thoughts, right? About what they're doing in the paper, and maybe you have some ideas for some kind of research you might be interested in. I want you to think about over the weekend a research question that you would like to pursue. Okay, so I want you to find a research question that you would like to pursue, and I would like you. So next week, what we're going to be doing is spending the whole week. Monday, I'm not going to meet with you. Monday, I have to travel. So I'm not going to meet with you. You're going to have Monday to think about your research question. Okay, you're going to think about your research question. And if you don't like the paper that I gave you, you still have to finish it, but you can look at the other papers that I posted for other students if anything there interests you. So I want to have your research questions uploaded. How am I going to get that from you? I guess I have to put it, I don't want to call it an assignment that I'm grading because I don't have another one to grade, but I will put up another I guess I can do a forum. I'll put a forum, and I want you to put your research question in the forum. So let's be active putting up your research question in the forum, and maybe I can help you in the forum to refine it. We're not going to meet on Monday, but we're going to work on that. Okay, so I will put that up, a forum that we work on our research questions, so that when we meet on Tuesday, we can begin doing the search strategies and keyword search, because we have to prepare for the second assignment. All right. Do you guys have any questions for me? These meetings are short, they go quickly, okay? So, but that's okay. Keep in touch with any questions you have. I'm going to put up the post for the research question, and this is a first stab at formulating a question. Does not have to be complex. Your papers may or may not be complex. If you see another paper that interests you, read it, and maybe you can formulate a question from there. Okay, they are seminal papers. Some of them are much older and things have changed. And that's, if you want to get started, if you do have time this weekend, go into Google and start putting keywords in to look for other papers. What is the difference between academic research and any other stuff on the internet? Can you just go on the internet and look for the answers to your questions? Yes, you can. Okay, you can go on the internet and just look for answers to your questions, but in the end, you have to do academic research that's grounded in previous literature. You need to go into the body of research to see what's been done before. So that's why I want you to kind of stay in Google Scholar looking at peer-reviewed articles. But in fact, you can go anywhere on the internet and just, you know, ask your questions, go into AI, ask questions, work with AI to formulate and improve a research question for me. You might not even need me in the forum, okay? use ChatGPT and say, give me a good research question to study crypto, or give me a good, ask it, but just put it in the forum so I can get an idea of what kinds of searches I can do with you on Tuesday. All right? Should I let you guys go? Any more questions for me? You're going to keep in touch? 10 o'clock's not too early, right? You guys are doing good with being here. So I'm going to edit the prontuario to put the 20 classes for asistencia. If there's anything else I need to clarify in the prontuario, let me know so I can update it. And I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a good weekend. Good luck with your assignment. Have fun. Ciao.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Andrea. Ciao. And oh, he left already. Francis, send me that. Send me that list.